Hi guys, it's Hannah Gelbart here and welcome to another episode of What in the World from the BBC World Service. Today we're talking about canned lions, which are lions that are bred in captivity and they are then killed for trophy hunting or for their bones. South Africa has the largest captive lion population in the world. It's got more captive ones than wild ones, and its lion farms are somewhat controversial. The government has said that it'll ban them, but it hasn't said when the ban will come into play. So today, you're going to hear where the practice of canned hunting comes from and what some South Africans think of the ban. Let's hear more now from my guest, who is here with me in the studio. It's BBC Africa reporter Danai Nesti-Kupemba. Hi.
Hi.
So tell me a bit about what canned hunting involves and where the practice came from.
So canned hunting essentially is breeding lions for a bullet. They're essentially, bred in these enclosures, and each stage of their life cycle is exploited. So from the moment they're born, they're taken away from their mother and then taken to these petting zoos. When they're cubs and they're cute, people come, tourists take pictures, post them on their Instagram. And then when they get too big, they're then moved to these enclosures, for walking tours. And so people get to walk alongside them and, again, take nice, fun, cute holiday photos. And then once they get much bigger, they're moved to hunting enclosures where, hunters come, typically inexperienced hunters who simply want a trophy, and they're let off to wander listlessly in a very small space, and they're shot at close range with a gun, arrows, and other weapons.
So mostly the hunters are tourists coming from abroad?
Yeah, typically wealthy Western foreigners.
Is it just lions that are bred in this way?
There are other animals, but lions are the most popular. There's the biggest demand for them, Even lion farmers, when they breed them, they think, which one's going to have a big dark mane? Which one's going to have like a white lions? Which one's going to have blue eyes? Because they want to push these prices up so they can sell them, essentially kind of like a restaurant menu, to these hunters who are coming to hunt them down.
How are the lions bred?
So it's just a constant cycle. These lionesses, once they're split from their cub again, they get pregnant, they give birth to cubs. They're split, get pregnant, give birth. And because they're trying to produce these lions at such a quick rate, there's issues with inbreeding, there's genetic defects, and a plethora of other genetic issues that just create, make it very difficult for lions to have any kind of quality of life.
And to be clear, is this practice legal still?
It is technically legal to breed for, lions in South Africa. So yes, it is technically legal in South Africa.
Talk me through the reasons for banning the practice.
So many people want to ban the practice because let's start with the welfare in which these lions are kept in. The enclosures are filthy, the quality of life is poor because they're not thinking about breeding these lions to be their happiest, healthiest, fullest selves. They're simply thinking, how much money can I squeeze out of this operation?
And now let's hear from Stephanie Klarman, who works in conservation in South Africa.
Predators are bred solely for their commercial value, whether that is for entertainment, body parts, trade, or hunting, meaning that these animals exist purely for profit. Their welfare and well-being are not prioritized, and there have been numerous cases in which predators are kept in extremely inadequate living conditions. Sometimes they are inbred and neglected to the extent that injuries and diseases are left untreated. Now, conservationists all agree that the captive breeding of lions is currently not a conservation requirement, since wild lion populations are actually stable in South Africa. And the release of captive-bred lions poses a significant concern for free-roaming wild lions that are already in reserves, conflict with people, and the captive-bred animals themselves. Concerns have even been raised that breeding lions in captivity for their bones, their parts, and their derivatives can actually stimulate demand and in turn can increase poaching of wild lions.
The South Africa Predator Association represents the hunting and breeding industry, and on the issue of captive bred lions, they say that lions play a crucial role in generating income for private parks and local communities. They dispute that captive bred lions are inbred, and they point to numerous cases, in quotes, where captive lions have successfully been released into the wild. When it comes to conditions, they say that the facilities accredited to the South African Predator Association are, in quotes, world class and adhere to strict rules and standards. And they say that some farmers have used their profits to create, in quotes, lush wilderness areas. They also say that SAPA members do not raise cubs to be petted or adult lions to be exhibited, and they'll never condone hunting drugged or tame lions. You talked a bit about lions being hunted for trophies, but what about bones, the market for lion bones?
See, this is one of the many issues that a lot of conservationists have with canned hunting. Because it's legal, it's kind of almost a front for the illegal bone operation. Even though it is legal in South Africa to export lion bones, it is legal.
Why do people want lion bones?
So it's... In Southeast Asia, there's a belief that, they can give you strength, they're potent, they can kind of... you can have that lion energy, kind of, essentially. And they're also used as a front as tiger bones. So people use lion bones under the guise of tiger bones because tigers are endangered. And they kind of, put a tiger bone label on a lion bone, to make more money. And they're used for other traditional medicines and herbs. And so it's part of a long culture in Southeast Asia to use these bones for, various things.
What is public opinion in South Africa on this issue? What do people think?
So actually, a 2022 survey found that over 60% of people in South Africa were against canned hunting. So there is a bit of disgust, with canned hunting. And people would like to see an end to it.
South Africa has said that it's going to shut down these captive lion farms, but that has not happened yet. What is the holdup?
I mean, the holdup is the farmers, one. They don't want to let go of essentially their livelihoods. It's a profitable business. It makes millions of dollars a year. So they don't want to let it go. And obviously, the government has said, you can voluntarily leave, but they haven't provided a financial incentive for the farmers to leave. So they're thinking, why would I voluntarily leave if I'm not going to get a financial stipend? How will I survive? How will I feed my family? How will I continue on? So there is that, debate and how to properly end it in a way where, the lions are taken care of. Because if we close it immediately, what happens to the lions in these enclosures?
There's 8,000 of them. There are so many lions.
Exactly.
And as you said, they can't be released into the wild.
Exactly. So there need to be so many conservation plans in place before they completely shut down these captive lion farms.
Danai, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, before we go, I want to tell you about some of the other episodes we have done on What in the World. We put out a brand new episode every weekday. You can listen to them here on YouTube. You can also watch us once a week. We're putting out a version in Vision 2, so you can get to know us a little bit better. And we talk about all kinds of things. We have done an episode on why young people are leaving France for Senegal. And we recently talked about whether we might discover alien life on Jupiter's moon. All of those episodes, as I said, are right here on YouTube. If you're not already, do subscribe and leave us a comment below with your thoughts. That is it for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. I'm Hannah Gelbart. This has been What in the World from the BBC World Service. We'll be back with another episode soon. See you then.